Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. As Paramount prepares to reboot the Star Trek film franchise, the studio has now found the duo who will write, direct, and produce the upcoming feature. After J.J. Abrams revived the Star Trek franchise with Chris Pine in 3 films from 2009 to 2016, there were hopes that the cast would reunite for a 4th film. However, after being stuck in development purgatory for years, Paramount plans to reboot the film series yet again. Deadline reports that Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, the duo behind Dungeons & Dragons, are set to breathe new life into Star Trek as directors, producers, and writers of a brand new film. The upcoming production will not feature the same actors from J.J. Abrams' previous movies, in which Chris Pine starred as Captain Kirk alongside Zachary Quinto's Spock, Zoe Saldana's Uhura, and more. The report also indicates that the new Star Trek movie will feature new characters instead of being tied to any of the previous series or movies. Goldstein and Daley have a history of working on existing franchises together. They wrote the script for Spider-Man: Homecoming, which was the first Spider-Man film in the MCU and featured Tom Holland as the superhero after his introduction in Captain America: Civil War. 6 years later, the duo wrote and directed Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which rebooted the popular role-playing game for the big screen after the original trilogy. The film earned a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Before Star Trek, their next project is Mayday, an action film with Ryan Reynolds, Kenneth Branagh, and Maria Bakalova, which has reportedly received major praise from test screenings. A release date on Apple TV hasn't been revealed. The rebooted Star Trek film is still in the early stages of development, so plot and cast details are unknown. Nevertheless, the upcoming reboot may face some challenges if it undertakes a new direction and unfamiliar characters. The franchise's streaming era has introduced several new characters, like Discovery's Michael Burnham, but has also leaned into nostalgia with the return of Patrick Stewart in Picard. Strange New Worlds has major connections to the original series and even cast Ethan Peck as the iconic half-Vulcan Spock. Discovery and Lower Decks demonstrated that the Star Trek franchise can still create high-quality content for the small screen. However, the big screen is still untested in this regard since every single big-screen Star Trek movie over the years has focused on the original series and the next-generation characters. However, what the upcoming Star Trek reboot has in its favor is the addition of Goldstein and Daley as directors, producers, and writers. Their pitch to Paramount must have been very impressive for the studio to bring them on board. Their history together in multiple roles behind the camera has proven that they have what it takes to inject new energy into major properties. So even though their take on Star Trek will feature new characters, if anyone can pull it off, it's Goldstein and Daley. For years, the future of Star Trek on the big screen felt like a shuttlecraft lost somewhere between subspace static and a temporal anomaly. There were scripts that almost happened, directors who nearly boarded the Enterprise, and timelines that never quite aligned. But now, in a twist worthy of a classic Trek plot, Starfleet has finally located its new creative team. And according to early whispers from behind the scenes, the next Star Trek movie won't just be another chapter. It will be the boldest reboot the franchise has attempted since 2009. Paramount's announcement dropped like a photon torpedo in a quiet sector. The new Star Trek film has officially secured its writers and directors, signaling the beginning of what insiders are calling a full-spectrum franchise recalibration. In other words, a reboot, not the third reboot, but maybe the one fans have been waiting for. For the first time since the Kelvin Timeline films launched over a decade ago, the studio seems determined to create a cinematic vision that won't be bogged down by development limbo. This time, it isn't about resurrecting abandoned scripts or trying to reunite actors whose schedules orbit different galaxies. Instead, Paramount has assembled a creative team whose mission is to build a Star Trek movie for a new era, unburdened by the expectations of the past yet anchored in the ethos that has made the franchise endure for nearly 60 years. The team behind the helm, the directors, yes, plural, are a duo, a partnership as ambitious as the Russo brothers, but with a distinctly different storytelling DNA. Their backgrounds blend big-budget spectacle with character-driven, emotional arcs, a fusion the new movie reportedly embraces from its first page. They've been described as cinematic explorers, the kind of filmmakers who treat special effects not as fireworks, but as language. Alongside them are the writers, a pair of genre veterans whose recent success in prestige sci-fi television caught the attention of Paramount's executive committee. These writers are known for threading philosophical tension into pulse-pounding action, weaving narratives that challenge audiences without sacrificing entertainment. Their collaboration with the directors began months before the official announcement, quietly shaping a plot that insiders say returns Star Trek to its intellectual roots while pushing the boundaries of modern blockbuster storytelling. A reboot, but not the reboot you expect. When fans hear reboot, reactions range from cautious optimism to outright panic. But this reboot, according to sources close to the script, isn't a retelling of Kirk's Academy days or a reimagining of Spock's struggle between logic and emotion. The new movie instead launches an entirely fresh continuity, one that doesn't overwrite the Prime or Kelvin timelines, but stands parallel to them, much like an unexplored branch of the multiverse. This allows the filmmakers to construct a universe free of canon constraints, while still honoring the franchise's most sacred principles: curiosity, diversity, diplomacy, the pursuit of knowledge, and the belief that humanity's brightest future lies among the stars. The plot remains tightly under wraps, but the tonal direction is reportedly epic yet introspective, with the emotional resonance of the undiscovered country, the visual ambition of Star Trek Beyond, and the philosophical reach of the motion picture. In short, it aims to be unmistakably Trek, but Trek through a new prism. Cast assembled for a new generation. Although no cast has been officially confirmed, the creative team has allegedly drafted a lineup of characters designed to echo classic archetypes without replicating them. Instead of the new Kirk or the new Bones, they're crafting personalities shaped by challenges unique to their timeline. One leaked character description mentions a captain who is neither a swaggering cowboy nor a reserved philosopher, but someone whose command style is forged from personal loss and a fierce loyalty to her crew. Perhaps the most tantalizing element of all is the new starship design. The directors, known for their visual innovation, personally supervised its development. Early conceptual whispers describe the vessel as a synthesis of retro-aesthetic and futuristic architecture, a ship that nods to the Constitution-class heritage, but adopts sleek, almost organic lines made possible by advancements in real-world aerospace engineering. Rather than feeling like a recycled design, this starship, whose name remains a secret, is intended to embody the spirit of exploration itself. One insider described its warp nacelles as like flowing energy, while another said the bridge layout emphasizes tactical minimalism and scientific immersion. If the Kelvin Timeline Enterprise was designed for spectacle, this new ship is designed for storytelling. A bold narrative frontier, the writer's pitch reportedly focuses on one central theme: first contact with an intelligence that redefines the meaning of life in the galaxy. But instead of another godlike entity or hostile empire, this new life form exists in a state that challenges Starfleet's core philosophies. The film explores humanity's response to encountering something that is neither friend nor enemy, but something profoundly other. This approach marks a departure from contemporary blockbuster trends, which often lean on high-octane conflicts. Instead, the tension of the new movie comes from moral dilemmas, scientific wonder, and the limits of diplomacy, though there will certainly be starship chases, zero-gravity battles, and cosmic phenomena that push the director duo's imagination to warp 9. Restoring Trek's cinematic identity. As the movie industry evolves, Paramount knows that Star Trek must evolve with it. But evolution doesn't mean abandoning identity. If early reports are accurate, this reboot recognizes that the heart of Star Trek isn't in nostalgia bait or cameo-filled timelines. It's in the courage to ask questions that matter. The new team is said to be committed to making a film that stands alone but invites expansion. If the movie succeeds, this new continuity could serve as the foundation of a long-term cinematic universe, one built on the values that Gene Roddenberry envisioned, yet modernized for audiences who crave depth as much as spectacle. A future worth exploring. For now, Fans can only speculate about which familiar species, starbases, mysteries, or philosophical crises might appear. But one thing is clear: Star Trek has found its new crew behind the camera, and they are ready to set a course for the unknown. After years of drifting, the franchise's cinematic future has finally locked onto a destination. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.